Trump was found liable for the sexual battery of E. Jean Carroll, and is probably going to have to pay nearly $5 million for defamation. I would be celebrating this, but I'm not. It's kind of weird to celebrate the fact that a rapist is finally getting justice. If this was just any other case, it just happened to be Donald Trump. A man who actually thought he could get away with things like this. A man who doubled down on the fact that he should be able to get away with things like this. But quite honestly, this should have happened years ago. But instead of acting like a man and accepting responsibility and the judgment, well, I would probably feel the same way. But after the deposition videotape made public, not to mention shown to the jury members, Donald Trump has no right at all to complain or cry about it. But unfortunately, he went on Truth Social and screamed this: "I have absolutely no idea who this woman is. This verdict is a disgrace, a culmination of the greatest witch hunt of all time. Very unfair trial." What else can you expect from a Trump-hating, Clinton-appointed judge who went out of his way to make sure that the result was as negative as it could possibly be, speaking to and control of a jury from an anti-Trump area, which is probably the worst place in the United States for me to get a fair trial? And you see trials in captions. Normally, this is the time that I would be cursing Donald Trump out and everything else, but I promised myself I wouldn't do that anymore. I would be moderate in this. But I will say this about Donald Trump's truths in the aftermath of the verdict. Just what is wrong with you, Trump? You had every opportunity to prove yourself innocent, and you took every opportunity to prove yourself a rapist. You knew exactly who this woman was. And as for this verdict being a disgrace, the disgrace is that it didn't happen years ago. And you're not in the witch hunt, Trump. It's called being held accountable for your actions. Now, I'm sorry this is hurting you, and I'm sorry that this is hurting your fragile ego. I'm sorry you think it was unfair. But I can name millions of people in jail right now serving sentences that could be called unfair. But here's the thing that bothers me about this whole situation the most. Besides the fact that Donald Trump continues to scream that he's innocent after a deposition tape that makes him sound like a narcissistic sexual predator, is the fact that your supporters are still going to vote for you. The same people who are trying to convince people like me that Joe Biden is a sexual predator, a child molester, when no proof whatsoever, no credible proof whatsoever has been proven. They're still going to vote for you. Honestly, Trump, I think you were absolutely right in 2016 during your campaign that you could shoot someone on Fifth Avenue and your poll numbers will still go up. But I really think that's really sad. Not only for this country, for all of them, for all of the Trumpers out there. And I think it's even more sad for the Republicans who see what Donald Trump is and are trying their best to walk away from them, but are trapped by this idea of, if I say anything against Donald Trump, my political career is over. For the Republicans who are trapped into the MAGA, speak up now. The current frontrunner for the Republican nomination for the 2024 presidential election is now the first president in history of this country, or the first former president in this country to be impeached twice, to be indicted on multiple felonies, to be investigated for multiple felonies on the federal level, the first president to ever push an insurrection against his own country, and now the first former president to be held responsible legally for sexual battery and defamation. Now, Donald Trump may still be your man, but what is history going to remember you as? Men and women who stood up against this man? Or will he be remembered as slaves to a cult of personality? CTP Know The Truth. God bless. Peace to the left, justice to the right.